Welcome to another episode of NAC Car Culture, your home of tough muscle cars, classic cruisers and high-performance imports. Kindly brought to you by the good people at NAC Insurance, 10 Tools and Mount Shop. Coming up on this week's show, Speed Science's Honda drag battle from Merrimeri.
Drive down, turn up, have a blast and drive home again is the plan.
And we meet the go-fast guys at Marsh Motorsport.
The big number is it does 300k in about 1.57 seconds.
But first, meet this week's Mount Shop feature car, Dean Mitchell's Supercharged SS Ute.
Like most projects, I suppose, started off pretty simple. Got a bit out of hand, as they do. The idea was I had a work ute, an SS work ute. I was going to chuck a blower on it and just go racing, have a bit of fun. A few friends of mine said, look, this ute's up for sale, you should grab it, and it's pretty cheap for what it is. So I did the deal. It was the old Predator ute from NZV81. And we brought it home with the idea of just chucking a quick paint job on it and going out and having fun. And 3.5 years later, we have this and we're almost there. Not quite, a couple of little teething issues, but we're 99% there and she's pretty cool.
Plan A for Dean was to put his own spin on the ute, and a big part of that was making it more streetable.
First of all, it's great having bucket loads of horsepower, but I wanted to be able to use it, and I wanted to be able to use it on the street, as well as, down the drags and other events like that. The whole idea was let's pull a bit of the extreme stuff out because it did have quite a few issues that we were trying to deal with. And let's go back to basics, and we can always build on that. As it turned out, the new engine combo that we put together, we were aiming for around 600 horse, and we ended up with 720, so and 650 foot-pounds, so pretty happy with that. And she drives pretty well on the street. So it's a 2001 Holden SS. That's pretty much where Holden finishes.
Picking up where the General leaves off is a 400 dart block topped with Brodix heads, a package bolted together by Paul Roper in conjunction with the boys from Marsh Motorsport. A 671 was matched up by Al's blowers, and the switch from fuel injection back to carbs has made a world of difference for street use.
I certainly wouldn't want any more to be able to use it on the street. Having said that, I've still got NOS all plumbed up to the back of the engine. If I had a bit of brain fade one day and decided I needed to go bigger and better, we always have the opportunity to do that. But for what I'm after, 720's plenty. I think it's one of those things that all boys, or most boys, want at some time in their life is a bit of a hood ornament. It certainly does make a statement, even though it's a bit obtrusive when you're driving country roads like this.
Piloting big horsepower streeters can be a wrestling match at the best of times, and as Dean's plate suggests, he has even more work cut out for him. But Dean's no stranger to all of this and had a plan in place.
The previous car I had was a 70 Chevy Nova, which a good mate of mine is looking after now. And I raced that down Merrimeri for a few years. And we fabricated a shifter so I could, it pivoted under the steering wheel, and I could still shift gear when I needed to. The problem was, if I got a bit out of line, I sort of have to wait for the car to come back the other way before I could hook up gear. So when we built this one, we knew it'd be doing a bit of sideways action, so I got fitted with a master shift paddle shift. And that follows the wheel round, obviously, so it doesn't matter which way I'm going, I can still shift up or down. So really good, and it just gives me the ability to keep the car in somewhat of control. Bloody fun. Really, the limited amount of time that I have spent driving it on the road, it's just fun to drive. When you give it a bit of a shoe full, it handles very, very well. Never feels like it's getting into trouble, always corrects itself. So I'm really looking forward to some hard track times.
And the finishing touch? A bit of colour on the tailgate.
I've often thought whether I'd put a name on the car, and yeah, I was just looking through some things one day and I saw, Rage Against the Machine. I thought, man, that really sums it up for me. Although I love the car, it's certainly tried my patience, and every little thing we've found something else that we have to fix and something else we have to correct. So yeah, Rage Against the Machine it just sums it up for me.
Still to come on NAC Car Culture. We meet the crew who hold the crown for New Zealand's quickest and fastest quarter miles. But straight after the break, we've got all the action from the Honda drag battle. You're back with NAC Car Culture. We drop in on Marsh Motorsport later in the show, but first, we're off to Meri Dragway for the Honda drag battle. The day is put on by Adam from Speed Science with support from NZ Hondas and boasts a field of mostly front-wheel drive and naturally aspirated cars. Are they trying to make things difficult for themselves?
I think we enjoy the challenge, so winding in more boost is easier, but I don't think it's as rewarding in the end. So, trying to find ways to pull weight out of the cars and having to play with the setup more. But each to their own. I mean, there's some turbo Hondas here and they're doing a bit of both, so it's all good fun. There's no judging. Big mixture. I think we've got old four-wheel drive Beagle shuttles through to more drag-specific street legal cars like mine and K-Fed, through to there's a 2015 Jazz. These kind of days there's no judging, there's no posturing. It's just good fun, so guys don't feel ashamed to bring whatever they want. So it's good fun.
Drive down, turn up, have a blast and drive home again is the plan.
I just like being different. I like proving a point. The front-wheel drive drag scene is not very strong in New Zealand, and that's kind of why I wanted to fly the flag as such.
Back at the Nightspeed Drag Wars, C3, the non-turbo class was often the biggest one. There'd be 30 or 40 Hondas and a few rotaries. And now there's barely just a handful of Hondas, and so it's really trying to promote that and grow it again. And again, if people are wanting to race at the track, they're less likely to do it on the street, so that's a good rep for all of us with the police and authorities. So.
It's not hard to see why the Hondas have proved popular in New Zealand. The price is right, and you're buying into a world of interchange options with the higher spec models.
Yeah, I mean, there's cars here that have got the K-Series out of the new Integra and the Civic, and that's almost a plug-and-play swap now with mounts and wiring looms. Yeah, mine's got the Type R motor. A lot of people use the Lego terminology, and it really is like that. And with the performance parts, especially out of the States, they didn't get a lot of the cool cars out of Japan that we did. So a lot of the market there is driven around doing swaps. And so you can just be able to get any bolt-in part for almost any combination, yeah.
So it's basically the K20A Type R motor, all factory internal, factory 6-speed gearbox, Garrett GD35 turbo, Synco manifold. We're running 1,000 horsepower insane shafts due to running the slicks. It wouldn't be any fun if there wasn't a challenge. We've had so many issues, but just over time, just fine-tuned everything, and it seems to be, working well now. It works out about 450 wheel horsepower. Have ran an 11.5 on 300 kilowatt, yeah.
EF9, 1990 Civic. So it's a genuine EF9, not many of them around anymore. It is running a B18CR that's been fully transplanted from, like a 96 Integra. Close ratio gearbox, light flywheel. It makes 147 kilowatts at the wheels, which is, it's not a lot, but in a light car, it definitely helps get you around. Fully set up track car. It's not road registered. It is dedicated race car. Decided that I'd come down and see how it went, have a bit of fun, you know, to have a skid. It's not really set up for it, but it should be all right. It should go reasonably well.
Power to weight is the name of the game here, and there's a few obvious choices that made up the majority of entrants. Ashton, however, doesn't do obvious choices.
Oh, gee, I think I was born different. Well, I've been into these cars for about 8 years, I'd say. It's not because I personally liked them at the time, I just needed a run around, and I've had about 7 of them in the past, NAs and 4 turbo ones. But I just seem to stick with this one because it's the most nannerous one, and cops leave me alone and can't really do anything wrong in it. I want to get into the 13s. Once I've done the 13s, I'm finished with it. It'll be good. But that doesn't seem to be happening. It's just holding me back. Best time is a 14.1, but that was about almost 4 years ago. So I guess I had better luck then. To prove how keen I am, I'm from the Hawke's Bay. So yeah, it's 400k drive here. Drive it here, drive it back.
It's a B18C 1800 that's been turbocharged, built engine, and we built it at my place of work, making 360 kilowatts at the wheels on 18 pounds boost. Surprisingly, most of it's stock apart from pistons and rods. Apart from that, everything else is factory Honda internally. My experience with them is they love turbos.
While the EG looks a nice tidy street car, its inclusion in the New Zealand Performance Car 300 kilowatt club has given the game away a bit that all is not stock under the hood.
A lot of people would pull up next to me before I had the stickers for a race, but now they pull up next to me, they see the stickers and they back off again pretty quick. I'm on road tyres that does 12 zeros at about 125 mile an hour. The mile per hour is very similar to Japanese cars running around the 10-second zone, but being front-wheel drive, it's always going to be hampered slightly, so I'd expect it to be a consistent 11-second car with slicks on it.
Putting on the Honda drag battle also gave organiser Adam the chance to debut his street-legal Civic, powered by a B18 CR swiped from a Type R Integra. Legal, yes, but pleasant as a road car, not so much.
In this respect, really, it's the weight reduction and what you're willing to sacrifice. You know, it's got no heater, no aircon. The dash is just a shell. It does have power windows, but you know, there's no stereo, there's no speakers. So it's not something you want to sit in rush hour traffic in. It's got a big clutch, you know, big throttle body, so drivability is a bit different. So you sacrifice pretty much everything you want in a comfortable, comfortable A to B car, and just chuck in everything that's going to make it faster. The suspension's hard, you know, it's just not very nice to drive, but it's fast. So.
Still to come on this episode of NAC Car Culture, we meet the Go Fast guys at Auckland's Marsh Motorsport. Welcome back to NAC Car Culture, your home of tough muscle cars, classic cruisers and high-performance imports. Right, thanks to the team at Teng Tools, it's time to meet the guys with a hand in many of the country's quickest motors, Marsh Motorsport.
Grew up in a orchard in Havelock North in Hawke's Bay, and Dad had a whole lot of tractors and driving tractors at sort of 8 or 9 years of age. As soon as he wasn't around, I was doing skids, and it sort of just grown from there.
What it's grown into for Tony, however, is a successful business that's built a huge range of potent motors for nearly every application you can think of.
Yeah, that's where Kiwis are probably better than anybody else in the world. Is if you go to the States, all they know about is a small block Chev, or the small block Ford, or the small block Chrysler and a NASCAR. They wouldn't know what a Datsun 1200 was, or a 3K Toyota, or a former Atlantic engine, like a Cosworth BDA. They only work on one engine, and they're very good at that engine, but they've got blinkers on when it comes to a wide cross-sectional stuff, which a lot of engine shops in New Zealand do. We build all sorts of things.
And that's a reflection of New Zealand's mixed car market, with many of those marques having next to no aftermarket support.
You were very limited to what you could actually buy aftermarket-wise, so you had to make a lot of stuff. And you'd have Jag valves and Anglia heads and Humber 80 heads and all sorts of Mickey Mouse deals going on to make something work, but that's how you learn. You know, a lot back in those eras, a lot of we built a lot of bombs, like the pin was pulled before it left. But that's how you learn. Our engines have won 47 New Zealand championships, and that is in all sorts of things, you know, right across the board. Little Formula Fords, New Zealand V8s, jet sprinting, stock cars. Yeah, a lot of circuit racing stuff, boat stuff and speedway stuff and drag racing stuff. Yeah, it's a right old mixture.
Drag racing is the current focus for Marsh Motorsport's own pursuits, and they're not there to make up the numbers. The latest in the fleet being this top fuel dragster, a 2010 McKinney chassis running a 500 cube big block Chrysler. This, ladies and gents, is both New Zealand's quickest and fastest quarter-mile machine.
Well, the other day we were over in the States, and friends of ours that give us a hand with the top fuel car, Bobby and Dom Lagana. Dom's come out here now for 2 years and given us a hand, and his bigger brother said to me the other day, "I'm shot. This guy sold his house to buy a car." He goes, "He's shot." I'm lucky I'm not married, otherwise I wouldn't have got away with it, but I sold my house to buy the car. So there's not many people that stupid, is there? So
if you did it to win money or to gain somewhere, you're going down the wrong path. This is all just for the love of it. I like the adrenaline rush, that's why I'm always happy to hop in it. Dad likes seeing how fast he can get something going. But it's roughly, all going well, about $10,000 a run. But you do get to keep a lot of parts, like you'll change a crank after 5 runs. You can sell it on Trade Me, or when you get 4 of them, make a table. Expensive table nonetheless, but still a table.
The crew had a wildly successful first few seasons, knocking off a couple of major milestones for New Zealand drag racing. Not content with posting the first 4-second pass, the team also followed it up with the country's first run over 300 miles per hour during qualifying at the Nationals.
It's taken 20 odd years to do it after the States had done it. Like, it's taken a long time down here. When Garth Hogan ran his 550 or 540, I wasn't quite sure, that was right on the time when they were doing similar times. It's just taken that much longer to get to a 4. Money's a big side of it. You've got to have a good sponsor to help get you to that point, but we're lucky enough we can rebuild everything here too, which helps on a lot on cost. The first car I hopped in was our small block Ford, which was a 6-second rail. That was the first car I ever went down the drag strip in. I got told just to go to half track. My first pass down the drag strip was a 9.9. That was my introduction to drag racing. It'll do 100 mile an hour in just under a second, but the big number is it does 300k in about 1.57 seconds. Okay, that's when it's moving. If you're going good, you'd be doing 280, 290 at half track, which is, that's the scary part. The other end's easy, because by then you actually know what's going on. You can steer the thing. That first half's just hold on, really. I drove a mate's Altered on the weekend down at Mary, ran 7.7s at 171, and that used to be fast. Where you drive it now after doing that sort of speed in a couple of seconds, it becomes nothing. Like sitting on 100k on the motorway now, I feel like I can get out and walk faster. I'm spoilt now. Everything I drive from now on, I'll be spoilt because I'll think it's slow.
And it's not going to get any better. A mere 4Ks stands between them and the first 500 km/h pass in New Zealand, and that's just the first goal. A couple of fiery passes finished the last season, and the guys have unfinished business.
Yes, we've had a very, very good season, but we ain't going to settle on where we are at the moment. We've got goals, more goals to achieve yet.
No, I don't suppose it ever ends. We want to do 330 mile an hour one day. That would be the aim. And then the top fuel record in IHRA for mile an hour is around 330, 331. So if we can do 335 and take the record away, have it in little old New Zealand, that would be quite a cool feat.
That's us for another episode of NAC Car Culture. Coming up next week, we're off to Lake Karapiro for New Zealand's biggest one-day car show. We meet Faisal's labour of love R34 GTR.
I was absolutely obsessed. I would, for years, every day, search for one.
And find out what 4 + 4 equals at Curran Brothers Racing.
4 turbos on the 4-rotor, and we've gone back to some old school proven gear in the car so it can really hit it.
See you then. NAC Car Culture was brought to you by NAC Insurance, 10 Tools, and Mount Shop. Thanks, team.